on the Pretoria High Court. That's where the defense will continue focusing on the alcohol found inside the Khumalo home on the night of Senzo Meyiwa's murder. The lawyer for accused number 5 read out witness statements yesterday that suggested that cans of alcohol were tied up, or tidied up, I should say. And this was by a neighbour who came in with others after the shooting. Newzroom Afrika's Linda Mnisi joining us now live from the court. Linda, good morning to you. I suppose take us back, the highlights from what came out of this cross-examination yesterday and what we might look forward to today.
Well, you'll remember, Oli, yesterday Advocate Zandile Mshololo going into the witness statements that were taken from some of the neighbors who entered that house in 2014, going through those statements that detail basically what happened after the shooting. Some of the neighbors saying that, in fact, they went into the house where they found water on the ground. And this particular neighbor goes on to mention that there was another neighbor by the name of Maggie Piri. You'll remember this name from last week, who tidied up those cans of alcohol which were in the house. And when she was asked why she was tidying up these cans of alcohol, she basically said that she didn't want the police to find out that the occupants of that house had been drinking. So that statement also corroborated by another neighbor who said that she heard Maggie Piri being asked around why exactly she was tidying up before the police could arrive at the scene. And what that does basically is just try to paint a picture of what could have happened prior to the police arriving. In fact, it seems as though these neighbors were able to enter, because in that statement they say when they arrived they found the door closed and they entered inside that particular house. You would remember last week Sergeant Thabo Mosia also saying that when he arrived he found police officers inside of that house. Now all of that clearly happens before Sergeant Thabo Mosia arrives at the crime scene, and when he finally arrives he finds Brigadier Ndlovu, who then points out some of the points that he needs to collect evidence from, and saying that he did not go beyond those points that were pointed out by Brigadier Ndlovu. So it seems then that prior to his arrival there was not just only the police who arrived, but other neighbors who entered into that particular house. It raises, of course, questions around whether or not that crime scene was indeed contaminated. We also heard about blood stains inside the house. He was specifically asked where Senzo Meyiwa was in the house when he was shot, and he says, according to the information that he received from Brigadier Ndlovu, Meyiwa was in the kitchen, but it's not in his sketch plan as to where exactly he was in the kitchen. And he was asked about whether or not there were blood stains in the kitchen, and he said, well, on the floor there weren't any blood stains, but in fact there were blood splatters on the tiled wall. He also spoke about how he found blood in the lounge between the TV stand as well as the couch, and that forms part of some of the evidence that he gave yesterday. But the big question really, Oli, has been around his expertise, because if you look into some of the things that he said over the past week or so, it raises questions around whether or not there was adequate training on his part at least, and whether or not he was educated enough to deal with this particular crime scene, and whether he had relevant experience really to be deployed to such a crime scene. Another aspect of this would be whether or not that scene was particularly staged. But he spoke about his experience, and let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Have you done any study in respect of forensic investigations?
BTech in forensic investigation.
I did the BTech in forensic investigation.
2019.
That was done in 2019.
Okay, but at the time when you attended the crime scene in this matter, you had not done any study regarding the forensic investigations.
The internal courses of the LCRC, Local Criminal Record Center, 2008. and Kaba criminalistic expert in 2013.
I did internal courses in local criminal record center 2008.
Linda Mnisi, thank you very much. Very, very detailed update on what took place in court yesterday, and indeed, we are going to see that particular cross-examination continuing today.